Hey, everybody, welcome to Poduty in the News for Saturday, October 18th. I've got Phil Better joining us again, the podcast mogul. We're talking South by Southwest, Canada's economy, heads will roll, and we're going to the library.
From Waikiki waves to Fringe fest lights, book lovers gather round for literary night. From Main Street dreams to Canada's cues, we're diving deep into the week's podcast news.
Tim Tebow's talking, the chamber's taking a chance. The yeah, dissected at the big romance. Now grab your seats, it's time to choose. We're turning Phil Better on the loose. What time is it? What time is it?
What time is it?
Oh,
It's time for
Poduty and the news. Poduty and the news. The only live news podcast about podcasting from the stage.
The only live news podcast about podcasting from the stage. Welcome back 2 weeks in a row, Phil Better, the podcast mogul.
Hello, and welcome to Poduty in the News with Phil Better and Jeff. Jeff, how are you doing?
Pretty good. I like that voice. It kind of reminded me of, do you remember the scene in Spaceballs when the ship was going to self-destruct and they're like, batten down the hatches, close the three-ring circus.
Close the three-ring circus. Batten down the hatches. We're going to explode. Have a nice day.
Little known fact, Poduty in the News is known as the three-ring circus of podcasting news. We've got Poduty and the crew, Phil Better, joining us today. I did mention last week it was your first time on the show, but what an error on my part.
Yeah.
You were here for the first episode. We actually did it live during international, or it was a global podcast meetup. You were here on the stage for episode number 1. So this is technically your third episode.
I think I'm in the top 3 most appearance on the podcast.
No, as of right now, you are the leader.
What? Let's
Maria
go.
Daniels with 2 and Norm with 1. We've been calling this Poduty and the crew because people got tired of just hearing me read news stories. So adding other perspectives and different points of view has been really a blessing. Like having other perspectives, having friends in the podcasting community that can carry my weight through a 40-minute show. I truly appreciate it. And having Phil back again it's always a good time. And this Poduty and the crew, we've been having it's coffee with Poduty and the crew. I'm having a dark roast, a Guatemalan roast from the Harvest Moon right down the street. And Phil might be having some hot chocolate.
Yeah, I'm having hot chocolate. You know me too well, Jeff. Out of my Montreal Canadiens mug.
Oh, El Canadien.
Les Canadiens, si tu veux. Throw in the French accent.
Nice.
I have some stuff up in my throat today. It is not funny. So I apologize if I'm always, coughing, Jeff.
Well, fair enough, because if you listen to last week's episode, I barely had a voice. I was struggling to get through the whole episode. I'm like this. I'm like, hey, Phil Better's here.
Yes, we had Mob Tony on the show last week, which was great.
Phil Better, the podcast mogul. If people wanted to connect with you, reach out for you. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
What I do, so I do 2 things. I help my day job when I'm my Bruce Wayne days. I am helping businesses, brands pretty much grow their podcasts at a very beautiful boutique agency that I'm a part of. I'm their audience growth specialist. And at night, when I'm Batman and I come out to help independent podcasters like yourself, I help you grow and monetize your podcast by showing you the methods large companies are doing. Similar to how we had our morning discussion around Introcast. I have access to all those and more, and how to leverage your podcast so that you can make some money and grow it so you can build that community that you're always looking for. So you can tell your mom that you actually did it.
Hey, Mom, I got ads in my feed. Introcast.
There we go. I'm making the money, Ma.
Yeah, check out Introcast. We had a nice dialogue back and forth. It is an interesting concept where they can insert ads into your feed.
For
Phil's very
podcasts. This
bullish. I'm a little
specifically
skeptical.
podcast to podcast. So this isn't, you're not going to get BetterHelp. You're not going to get Manscape. You're going to get another podcast ad. So it's podcast to podcast, which if it was just brands like BetterHelp can get access to it, I wouldn't be around it, but it's podcast. So for me, it's like we're keeping it podcast-y podcast.
It works beautifully until BetterHelp creates their own podcast.
They already have one.
Well, then they can advertise on my show. Check it out on the live feed. Phil and I, we battle it out over Introcast. It is very interesting technology. Also, I say a very slippery slope.
Potato.
Potato. Phil, are you ready to get into this week's stories?
I am definitely ready to get into the news.
Awesome. We're going to let you know, heads will roll, and so did the indie era. Tonight, we're rewinding back to 2009 when disco met distortion and indie went mainstream. A live podcast recording in Dublin revisited the Yeah Yeah Yeah's electrifying album, It's Blitz, the record that traded guitars for synths and garage grit for glitter. Host Andrea Cleary's listening party was recorded live before a sold-out crowd of 40 at the Big Romance, where fans danced, debated, and agreed that this was more than an album. It was a cultural turning point. With hits like Heads Will Roll and Zero, the Yeah Yeah Yeahs helped close out 2000s indie era in a glorious strobe-lit fashion. And I was talking with Phil about this story. Just to clarify, we're not going back to 2009. When I read this, I'm like, oh wow, this is a 14-year-old podcast. That's when the album was released, but this was a recent event. This is a music podcast where they have a listening party. So this is looks like Nail or Nine is a music magazine or an online publication, and they're having meetups with their fans who listen to read their magazine, read their online publication, and they're dissecting albums. They're going back in time. You would typically read a review from a writer, like, oh yeah, I put on this album, I liked it, this track is solid. But now you're experiencing these articles in real life with real people and just having a good time. It's a different way to bring your audience together for a podcast.
I think it's fabulous. Again, it's creating the community that you want. That's what we are looking for. That's what all podcasters are looking for. We're looking for the community and bring them inside. Even if it's 40 people, that's 40 people that decided to leave their house to come to the venue you're at to listen to you talk about the album because they love the album or they love your podcast. I think this is fabulous. I want to see, last week we were talking, there was a lot of talk about live episodes and live meetups with podcasters. This is something I would love to see more podcasters do. You just need to ask your audience if they're interested in it. You can create a form in your show notes, make the call to action in your episode to, hey, let us know if you're interested. There's a form to see if you guys want to do a live meetup in a city. And like Jeff, you've seen the power of it with your podcast meetups every month.
Yeah, and some people, one of the feedback I get is my theater holds 40 people, and this is an event that had 40 people attend. And if you're small or independent in 2025, what you don't realize is how hard it is to get 40 people out of the house in 2025. It is one of the most difficult things. The value proposition to get people to even consider attending a smaller independent event, it's a hurdle. Most people look at 40 and they scoff like, oh, I wouldn't do a show for 40 people. I guarantee you, if you were to have a show, you're not selling 40 tickets on your first couple at bats. It takes some time to establish that community, but 40 is such a respectable number for a live podcast. I know national touring podcasts that go around and sometimes they get 40, 50 tickets. Shows like Doug Loves Movies sometimes does 40, 50 tickets. They've done episodes with 10, 12 people in the show. So
go ahead, sorry.
That's a national established podcast that's been around for probably 15 years. And that's hard for them to sell 40 tickets. So, keep that in mind when you hear the sizes of some of these events. These are the starting points. This is the grassroots foundation that we're laying down here to build bigger and better events.
Yeah, it's if you look one of the I was at recently at Empowered Podcasting a few weeks ago, and one of the talks was market like a punk band, actually, and it was this former musician who went into podcasting, and he markets the podcast like an independent band would. You set up your merch, you do unconventional things, posters, he said that he put business cards for his podcast, like flyers on car windows. Like, I don't know how, like, that was old school. Like, when I used to remember when I was parking downtown, coming to my car, depending on what section of the city I was in, and I would have leaflets on my windshield, held down by the windshield wipers, for bands playing live events. Like, you can do this if you are interested. Go old school. 40 people in a $500 or 500 person place, listening to you talk about your podcast. That's no one else is doing it. Yes, it may be only 40 people. That's 40 people who chose to come out and listen to you. Get that? That's 40 people leaving the comfort of their home when they can listen to you either on their phone or on the radio or on the internet, coming to see you. When I was at your meetup last time, it was a small group. I was thankful for like one person showing up. I thought no one was going to show up, and we had like at least five to 10 people in the audience, which I was like, this is the first time I'm talking to a live audience on podcasting. This is amazing. So 40 people, I would be doing backflips. If I had a live podcast recording and I had 40 people, backflips.
40 people. It's better than 40 people.
500?
How about 50 people at the Bright Minds, Bright Pages, and a live podcast? We're going to the Sarasota Book Festival as it celebrates its 5th year, and it's bringing the written word to life, literally. Over 50 authors, 30 sessions, and hundreds of book lovers are gathering for readings, panels, and one very special edition, a live podcasting recording by Discover Saratoga and Bright-Sided Media. The session will be free for all attendees, offering behind-the-scenes conversations about storytelling, the power of creative communities. With its blend of live panels, literary night markets, and now podcasting in front of a live audience, Saratoga's proving that books may start on the page, but the stories keep growing long after the end. I love the AI jokes.
Yes, the AI jokes are great. I love this. Again, with the rise of AI videos and stuff, people are having a hard time and will be continually have a hard time telling what's real and what's not. The only way you can do it is in live events. And I think libraries should be doing more of this, having live podcast recordings, talking about books, because it brings out the community. And it's a great way to, you can ask for donations for charities at the book fest, right? You have so many opportunities, and people love books and they love talking about books, just like people love talking about podcasts. We're literally talking about podcasts on a podcast. So like the inception point is real. I think we're going to see a lot more of these popping up because they're showing off how powerful and how amazing they are at creating connections. I think I want to see more of these, more book festivals, more music festivals, having a podcast adjacent or even a YouTube adjacent aspect to it, because you now can have your news, if you want the news showing up, by putting it on YouTube, by putting it on podcasts. You can get the radio, you leveraging today's technology to create the past in a new and better way.
Yeah, and some people don't know this, but the library's business model depends on people coming through the front door. So if you have an opportunity, an event, here's an event connecting authors, which is a great fit for libraries, but libraries also have media centers. They also have what a lot of people don't know. They're all interconnected, and they have digital media. So like, let's say you don't want to pay for subscribing services anymore, your Netflix, because you're sick and tired of paying all this money to rent movies. Libraries have a whole network of digital media. So if you want to go there, get your get your movie releases. You can get all that stuff for free. And while you're there, you might want to stick around and see a show. Libraries have these media rooms. They want to get people in there. The more people that get in there, the more that it gets usage, the more that they can raise in donations and grant money. It's important to support your library, and shows like this bring people in the door. That's the number one goal of a library is we need customers.
It's not customers, because you're not paying for anything. A library, I'm already paying with your tax dollars. You're paying for libraries. So if you're not using it, you're wasting your tax money.
Yeah.
You already pay for the ticket to get into the library. You already pay for the right to remove a book, read it, and return it, or even rent. Some of them even allow you to rent equipment. So if you need a better camera, a microphone, they may have the equipment for you, and you can use it at either their space or be able to take it out and return it. The library is the most powerful thing, and I love that they're doing more. I think anybody who's a librarian should be looking into podcasting to create a podcast for the library where they interview authors, readers. It's would be frigging insane.
Get your library card. Thank your librarian. Do some events at your local library. It'll make your community better and stronger. Strong as South by Southwest live from Sydney. We're going broadcast or bust. This one comes to us from Radio Info. At South by Southwest Sydney, things got a little spicy during a live podcast taping of Mumbrella Cast when outspoken marketer and Skin Graphica CEO Matt Baxter declared that traditional media agencies are facing an extinction level event. Speaking with Tim Burrows and the team, Baxter argued that TV missed its chance to unite against streaming giants like Netflix and Amazon, and now it's too late. He warned that AI could cause similar disruption in advertising and journalism, but said human creativity and local connections still matter most. The crowd leaned in as Baxter called radio the last true local hero of media. It was a fiery, thought-provoking conversation, exactly what South by Southwest does best.
I'm in agreement with, I believe it, Matt. This. Yeah, Matt Baker.
Matt Baxter.
Matt, I'm in full agreement with Matt. We, as much as I use AI, and I realize that there is some ethical dealings with AI. It does allow my job to do a bit easier. The transcription, the cleaning up the audio, it's amazing, and for the price point, right? But I do see the downside with AI voices, and I think we talked about it last week, or you had mentioned it on one of your episodes about the podcast agency that's just putting out the AI slop. And for me, that's the fear, because right now AI is at the worst it's ever going to be. Specifically, the audio for voice for us as podcasters, we're voice. Video, we see Sora putting out videos that you can barely tell if it's legitimate or not. With AI, yes, you can use AI voices, but if it's all AI, you start to lose the human connection, and it's going to get better as they train the models to learn how to speak with intonation and inflections and all that, and make it sound more like a human. If we as a podcast community or as a radio community, because radio has more power than podcasting at this point because it's a legacy media, if they don't come together and put restrictions on what AI can do, we can be crushed with just exactly like, just like the streaming giants crushed television, because businesses are going to look for what's cheap, and paying a computer to spit out a podcast that's 30 minutes long and it only costs them $2 versus having to hire a whole team to handle that, which was going to cost them $200,000, let's say. Businesses are going to look for the cheap way, and it's going to be with technology. So radio and us independent podcasters really need to put our foot down. If not, we're going to be treated like the dinosaurs and kicked out, and AI is going to take away everything. But that's why I'm saying get in person. In person, you have that ability to know that it's actually John or Jeff and Phil speaking. It's not this AI slop that's going out because it's in person. I know, I saw them. They're not a robot yet.
The barrier to entry for creating AI content is low, and it's getting lower every day. And like Phil, I use AI to help me with research. I go through 1,000 articles a week, just trying to find the 6 best ones, and I get summaries and as things I would use as a staff, like a support staff. And I'm getting more bullish on I need to disclose that better, because the show is all the words I speak, the words Phil speak. It is us, and we are using AI in assistance. But I have a little different perspective now. The more that I see how low the barrier is to AI, and I start thinking about what are other things that computers have done for us that became so easy that we just tune it out. And I started thinking about email and mailing. 20 years ago, I would carry a book of stamps in my pocket because I may have to mail a letter at any time. I haven't bought a book of stamps in 10 years, probably. If I do, I go into the post office and I buy one stamp.
Yeah.
Because computers have created email. And at first, email was a nice, easy way to get back and forth with people, one-on-one. And then marketers got involved, and we got email campaigns. And now you look at my email box, I have 100,000 unread emails in my Gmail account.
The amount of unsubscribe I do each week is insane.
So that's a service that became so low for the barrier to entry that as humans we just like, meh, I'm going to tune it out. I had another example, but I think we're going to see the same type of pattern happen. And AI is not only people I think are going to tune out the majority of this, but I think AI might be the thing that does in social media. Because if you watch a video now and you get to the end and you're not sure if it's AI or not, what's your initial reaction when you find out that was AI? You're kind of angry, right? You get like fudge, like that. You're not excited that was an AI video, and as they become better, you're going to lose that trust in that feed and that algorithm that's just pushing this mindless content at you. And I think if people can break the addiction of their cell phone and social media, that they're going to pull away because they're not going to know what they trust.
We're already kind of seeing it with Gen Alpha, a distancing on social media, and a distrust because they're not sure what's real in that. So you're seeing that. I think just like how Facebook kind of went into the boomer mode, with more boomers using it and less younger people using it because of the less restrictions on certain news and certain content being pushed. They're seeing and we're seeing the studies now on how dangerous social media is. Like, it's programmed to keep you on it, right? It's not supposed to show you happy-go-lucky things. It's supposed to show you the stuff that will keep you flipping through doom scrolling. And that's why it's called doom scrolling, because you're scrolling through nothing but doom. So that's why I mess with my algorithm. I always look for, there's a specific person I look for. He's called Beard Daddy. Not Beard Daddy, Bearded Cards. He's a Pokemon dude who sells cards, and he has all these wonderful things with kids. And I just like every single one, so it cleans up my algorithm every once in a while. If I'm doom scrolling too much on some of the crazy stuff. But yeah, I'm seeing that if we don't regulate AI, people are going to get off of social media. Look, Facebook and Google are trying to get you off your phone by using Google Glasses with Ray-Bans, and it has everything inside your phone. And I saw a TikTok where someone tried it, and they were like disconnected from the world completely, and making you even more individualized. So I'm thinking, looking at that's their goals. Yeah, I'm going to build a community where you can connect with people so that you can stay connected to the rest of the world so that you know what's going on. But yeah, AI, probably not for the betterment of humanity.
Yeah, I heard there's a great Casey Neistat came out with a video maybe 2 weeks ago now about Sora, and one of the questions he proposes is, whenever this barrier gets so low, let's say he wanted to see John Wick on the moon, and you just go to Netflix, you type John Wick on the moon, and you get a story delivered to you, a 2-hour movie delivered to you that's created in that time. I don't think that's impossible 5 years, 6 years from now. But what's the value of that? Like, if you can just pull up anything you want, movies become chocolate bars, or they become just like junk food, like we have in America. We have all these things that are just disposable, and I think that's what entertainment becomes when you're just asking for what you want to see and you get it. Is there any value in that?
And that's why I think theaters, actual theater, like actor, like stage production, you're going to see a resurgent in that. If we come to a place where major streaming companies, I can literally go, I have this idea for a movie. I want John Wick on the moon. I want these actors, this, that, and then some, and some points. Like I can give it an actual idea and it can create the movie for me, 2 hours, and it's nearly realistic looking, right? Cool. Because sometimes, there are some actors that are problematic or have been canceled or held accountable for their despicable actions, and you want to watch a movie, but you don't want to support that actor, right? Because they may get residuals or whatever. So you're like, hey, redo this movie, remove this actor, but replace them with this actor. That's a possibility. Yeah, that's going to be cool. But if I want actual entertainment to see people, I can see theater having a great rise, especially if they're lowering the prices. The ticket prices are reasonable. Obviously, it won't be able to compete with streaming because streaming is going to be like $20 a month, whereas theater tickets are probably going to be $20 a seat. But I feel that theater and in person, because we want that human connection, we don't want that soulless AI. And I don't think AI will ever get to a point where it won't be soulless. So I would love to see a resurgence in live theater because of the AI and Sora type video, the things coming out.
Replace actors. I want to see Back to the Future with Eric Stoltz, not Michael J. Fox. Let's go to our next story. Main Street goes big with Tim Tebow and a live podcast. Downtown Columbia, Missouri is about to turn into Entrepreneur Palooza as the Main Street Summit returns November 4th through 6th. And this year, it's putting small business right in the spotlight. The 3-day event features over 120 speakers, including NFL legend and motivated powerhouse Tim Tebow, who will share insights on leadership and purpose. But the big news for us podcast fans, the hit show Founders Podcast will record a live episode on stage featuring Ramp CEO Eric Lyman and host David Senra, with venues scattered throughout coffee shops, theaters, and co-working spaces. It's a small town summit with big league vibes, and add in NASCAR star Carl Edwards and a showcase of Missouri-made food and talent, and you've got a celebration where Main Street truly takes the center stage.
I love this. This is great. This is something, Jeff, you are kind of somewhat putting on with your winter palooza, showcasing all the small little businesses in Trenton. This is a great blueprint for any small town business commerce center. I don't know what you guys call it. I'm throwing out a lot of buzzwords right now, but the commerce center, the city commerce center, or whatever, the council, whatever it's called, where all the small businesses in the town can meet and discuss and whatever. This is something that they should be looking at doing, because one, like you're going into coffee shops, theaters, restaurants, books, whatever you want, and you're putting on these little summits inside. You're drawing people into a local business. There's an opportunity for them to purchase stuff, to be a part of, increase the value of the restaurant or the coffee shop. And you're also, having like Tim Tebow. I'm pretty sure Tim Tebow and Carl Edwards won't be in the coffee shops, but more likely in the theaters that they're putting on or the co-working spaces. But this is a great opportunity again to highlight how important small businesses are to the community. And by integrating both a summit and promoting small businesses inside, putting them together, I only see win-win-win.
Yeah, this one checks all the boxes on everything you've heard me talk about, DIY, supporting small business. They could have went to a hotel and booked out 5 ballrooms and had an event there and showcased everybody. But they said, we're going to spread this out on Main Street, on the side streets, through coffee shops and theaters and I don't know, maybe a pastry shop for me. Maybe I'll put my show in the donut shop. And these events now are going to be in the community, immersed in local business, and they're talking about local business and they're supporting local business. All around, a great structure and just a great way to put something together in a small town.
And probably the cost to run this, like you mentioned, they could have done it at a hotel or a convention center, and they would have been paying like 10, 20, 30, $40,000 just to rent it. That money now can go into advertising because they're probably paying a fraction of a price at the theater, at the coffee shop. They're probably paying nothing at a coffee shop, right? Because the coffee's like, this is great deal for us. Like we're getting people inside. It's amazing. So for me, I'm looking at it as, they're probably saving a ton of money that they can then put into marketing to make it even bigger, or even getting bigger names like Tim Tebow and Carl Edwards to come up, because they're paying. There is a paid, they have speaking fees. So for me, I'm like, they now have the ability, instead of using the money on renting a place, they can use it for getting bigger names in it, marketing. This is genius blueprinting for any small town to look at making a huge thing.
Yeah, imagine you're the person putting this on in your small town. You just became your small town superhero. Everybody will know your name. Everybody will be so thankful for what you're doing. You will not be able to go grocery shopping or do anything without someone waving at you or thanking you for what you did for the community. This is one of the best ways to give back to your local town, to your small businesses, is by just putting an event on that showcases them. You'll be a hometown hero.
Yeah, I love it.
Love it. Well, hey, we're going to go to your hometown here. We're going to Mississauga, I don't think too far from you.
It's a few hours, but it's in Canadian terms, it's next door.
That's where I go to get my Rickers Red.
Yep.
Canada's economy goes live, podcast style. The Canadian Chamber of Commerce is the source on this one, and they just wrapped up their 2025 AGM and convention in Mississauga, a 2-day power summit packed with policy debates, keynote speeches, and, you guessed it, a live podcast recording hosted by Mara Abdu from the Business Data Lab and Canada's Economy Explained podcast, brought data to life on stage, diving into how collaboration and innovation can shape Canada's future. With special guest Carla Kongson of Agentive, the conversation explored how big ideas happen when business, tech, and government collide. It wasn't just numbers and charts, it was insight, storytelling, and energy in motion. This live taping was a highlight of a convention that proved the future of Canada's economy sounds pretty good in podcast form.
As a Canadian, I'm happy to see that they're actually bringing it into a government event. I think this is great. Again, it's showing the power of podcasting because they're having a live podcast. They brought podcasts. They're realizing that podcasting is in the future and they're not going against it. I have only great words for this. Like, this is, again, another proof of concept that if not only big business, government, a major government is looking in using podcasting, it's only showing you that and cementing that podcasting is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm probably going to check out the live episode to see what it sounds like, how they did it, and how well it went. Again, yay Canada for doing it. I want to see it because it is growing. I think we doubled podcast listeners, or at least listening percentage, and knowledge of podcasting over the last year. So we're still in those growth. We're going to be stabling off soon because you can't sustain that type of growth long term. But yeah, I'm all for it.
Yeah, you have a captive audience who's concerned about the future of Canada. You're having a podcast about the future of Canada. You couldn't blend two better audiences and content together than having a live show. And imagine you're an attendee. These attendees at these conferences are starting to get excited when they see at 3 p.m. we're going to have a live podcast called Canada's Economy Explained, and it's probably some of the thought leaders in that area. It's people that people look up to who are attending that event, and they're going to hear how they think and speak in real time and how they're addressing some of the future problems that Canada may face, or some of the growth ideas.
Yeah, I love it.
Nice. Well, let's do one more story. The Podcast-a-Rama takes over Fringe Fest. This comes to us from Food About Town. It was podcast pandemonium at the 2025 Rochester Fringe Festival, where Pauly Guglielmo.
You did it better than me.
The Pauly Guglielmo Show hosted a Podcast-a-Rama live in front of a buzzing audience. The hour-long mashup brought together the Luchador Podcast Network's best voices, including Matt Austin and Chris Lindstrom, Emily Hennessy Lynch from It's a Lot, and Mike Huntone from Punches and Popcorn. The crew dove into hilarious rankings, debates, and behind-the-scenes stories that had the crowd laughing from start to finish. From martial art movies, madness, to foodie fun, this live recording showed exactly why Rochester podcast scene is thriving, full of creativity, community, and a whole lot of personality. Now, these are the types of events I go crazy for. There's no rules when you get into an event like this. There's a live event happening. You bring in a food podcast, or they're talking chaos, and it's just, you can have one of the best nights of your life when these couple things come together like this.
I love it. You're bringing food, which, let's be honest, who doesn't love food? You're bringing community together, people having fun together, and you're bringing podcasting together, all together. Listen, again, it's proving that live events are important for podcasters. We're moving towards that. More and more people are going to be part of that live. Everybody wants to be part of a live audience. You see it with Kimball. You see it with all the late night talk shows and even shows that allow a live audience. Back when we were growing up, MTV had those like IRL and stuff like that with a live audience. Live audiences are where it's at. So the more you do things like this, proving podcasting is so important to these events, the more you're going to see. So if you're a podcaster that has a niche that you think will work with an upcoming event, community event, or a Food About Town or something like that your city puts on, reach out and see if there's a possibility that you can collaborate with them. I know Just for Laughs, a huge thing in Montreal every year. They do have, because Netflix has their comedic shows that they put on, they do film some live episodes with podcasters in the audience, or and live podcasts as well during the Just for Laughs. So it's coming. You just need to reach out and do the legwork. No one's going to come ask you to bring your podcast on to their show. You need to go out and reach out and talk to them. And I think this is another example where you can do it.
Yeah, and if you haven't done it, get those reps in. It's okay to say, hey, I love what you're doing. I want to be a part of it somehow. Maybe you're a volunteer this year, but next year you get your show on, or maybe there's events in between that you can work together with those hosts of those events. There is opportunity for your podcast to be a part of the community, to be a part of local events, especially events in your niche. But you got to take the first step. You got to do the legwork. You got to start getting that in motion, and you will see the benefits of going live when you're podcasting. It's a whole different game, and it's 10 times more rewarding.
Oh yeah, it's 100 times more rewarding going live, because you get to actually connect and talk with your audience. You have the ability to, they're able to say, hey, I love this episode. And you actually can get feedback from live humans afterwards, like, hey, what do you like about the show? What would you like to see improved? How can I make the show better for you? You have your audience is right there. but also you're providing value to the event because you're bringing people in because you already have an audience to intermingle with this event. You're potentially finding new audience members as well.
I do shows for high fives. Let's go to Poduty.com, Poduty. We've got t-shirts, $10. Get your Poduty shirts, 4 colors, 5 sizes while they're available. We have some upcoming shows. We got the Pittsburgh Podcast Meetup November 1st. We are now live streaming the Q&A portion. So how does this work? If you're in Pittsburgh, go to Poduty.com, get your in-theater ticket, totally free. I'm buying sandwiches, sodas. We got snacks. We're going to hang out from 6 to 7, network with other podcasters in the Pittsburgh area. We're going to exchange business cards, contact information. And then at 7 o'clock, we're going to go through your most pressing podcast questions. So if you have just something that's been challenging you, you just can't get over this one hurdle, you'll get my perspective, but you also get other audience members' perspectives of how to handle that problem. So you can watch that with the virtual ticket at Poduty.com. It's totally free as well. From 7 to 8, we live stream the Q&A portion. You can watch it from anywhere. You can even ask your questions. We'd love to hear how you're doing in your neck of the woods.
I remember they're great. The one I was at was fun, very intimate, a lot of fun. Make sure you show up because I learned stuff as well. So I was giving a talk and I learned stuff. So you guys can learn so much if you come, and I highly suggest you guys do go to it.
Agreed. I learn something every week, and if we don't get your answer, we will find it by the time for the next event. We have Tamara coming in a couple of weeks now. It's coming up close. Almost her goal. This is her first time ever. Her goal was 10 tickets. She has hit her goal already. She is first time ever on stage. She's wrapping up season 1, getting into season 2, November 8th, 6 p.m. It's going to be a lot of fun. Nailed it. The Motherhood Podcast. It's a live event. It's going to be a good time. And Phil alluded to this earlier, the Tarentum Holiday Spectacular. We're doing something similar here for Tarentum businesses. We got some signups coming in already. If you're in the Tarentum area and a small business and want to be on stage for 10 minutes, we're going to live stream your business exclusively. We'll talk about what you do, what you sell, where you're at. We'll play video, photos, whatever you want to do. It's your 10 minutes on stage. There's no cost to Tarentum businesses. We're also looking for sponsors and volunteers. Head over to the website to get those, to sign up. There's a sign-up form on there. And the Humorous Podcast, still teasing this one. This is a 2026 show that we booked coming up in the end of March, I believe. I always promised I'd put the date on there. And I wouldn't be remiss, is that the right word?
We'll go with it.
Without reintroducing our co-host 2 weeks in a row, Phil Better, now the most attended Poduty in the News co-host. Phil, I'll let you send it off.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to Poduty in the News with Jeff Rivella and Phil Better. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you're inclined to connect with the Podcast Mogul, make sure you check out his website, thepodcastmogul.com. You also can follow him on all social media by looking up the Podcast Mogul. We thank you so much for listening, and make sure you have a Phil Better day.
Phil Better live from the London dungeon with the chimney in the background. Is that like a Darth Vader on the back left?
Yes. So I have. Oh wait, I have two Darth. No. So I have Darth Vader. Yeah. So this is Luke Skywalker.
Okay.
That I got in Disney, and then over my other shoulder. Wait, I have to move. Sorry, I'm not used to this. Then we have Darth Vader showing the Lego set of Darth Vader showing up from A New Hope, and then the Darth Vader himself. And then I also have Grogu and Groot stuffies. My office is very, very business oriented, as you can tell.
Yeah, that's right. All business. Let's go back to that theme song.
From Waikiki waves to Fringe Fest lights, book lovers gather round for literary night. From Main Street dreams to Canada's cues, we're diving deep into the week's podcast news.
Tim Tebow's talking, the chamber's taking a chance. The yeah, dissected at the big romance. Now grab your seats, it's time to choose. We're turning Phil Better on the loose. What time is it? What?
one of my
Duty
favorite
and the
parts of that song was not written by AI. I had to rewrite it to work in Feel Better. And the line that I added was, "We're turning Feel Better on the loose."
We're turning Feel Better on the loose.
It was like pull up a seat, no time to choose. And I was like, doesn't rhyme with Podcast Mogul. So I was like, oh, we'll turn Feel Better on the loose. They can't all be
Like a
winners.
goose.
The goose is loose, drinking juice.
Ooh, ooh.